Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, everybody. Welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I am your host, Strange Road Jim, and today we are going once again getting back into um, some Pega certification studying. We got some videos to look at um, later on tonight, or after the Pega. And then we will be going on into Terraria afterwards. So um, I still haven't talked with Blackheart about wanting to do start up the discussion about um, working on um, say the Unreal Engine um, and trying to work through that and see what we can do there. It might be a little difficult for us um, at the very beginning, obviously, um, because it's been ages since I've done anything with C++. Uh, Not to mention C, but C++ is you know I mean, last time I used C++ was back in when I was in community college, so it's been a while. Um, so actually, that's not necessarily true. I mean, I did a little bit with one of my jobs, but that was like 3 months long, and even then, I wasn't doing like any hard coding or anything along those lines. Um, so yeah, it's going to be an experience getting into that, and then we'll kind of explain a little bit more as to our thinking and our reasoning behind it and all that. Um, so um, still got um, you know, got that potentially in the works right at this moment in time. Now, um, one thing that I want to uh, okay, let's get into Pega itself here. Because that's what you're here for, right? You're here on the stream at this particular time. I'm actually here. And or maybe you're watching this video on YouTube later. Any support that you can give me would be helpful, but let's move on. Okay. So who am I? What are these videos all about? What should you expect on it? Okay, so I am currently an unemployed out of work software developer um, whose last job was dealing with the Pega environment. So I figured while I'm applying for jobs, I might as well try to get my certification. And it's a long process. Okay, I don't care what they say on their missions, like, hey, this mission will, or this topic takes 5 minutes. No, it doesn't. Um, you're also trying to get basic understanding behind that topic as well. That takes more than just 5 minutes for you to cover it. Okay, so give yourself more time when it comes to these missions and stuff like that. Okay, if you try to rush through it, then you might learn it incorrectly, and that's going to harm you in the long run. Okay, because then you have to kind of you have to train yourself out of it. So don't get into that mindset of like, um, you're gonna know like everything super fantastic, first time you read through it and you're gonna know it like that, you know. And you're gonna be perfect on day one of your job. Don't have that mindset. Okay, please don't. Um, because you're probably going to learn fairly quickly that, jobs have other standards. So, um, okay. So let's move on. So that's a little bit about me. I'm working towards getting my system architect certification. Maybe I'll take the business architect certification as well, but my main interest is getting the system architect so that I can get a job working as a system architect. I have no interest in getting a job as a business architect. No interest in that whatsoever. But, I'll grab it anyway just to maybe, add some more to my resume if I need to. But for the time being, my main focus is getting that system architect because I actually want to code. You know, I actually want to code. I'm actually comfortable with that. I don't mind doing it. you know, some people just, I don't know. I guess, I don't fit their mold somehow. Um, okay. Sorry, I got another rejection, so got hit again. But um, we move on. Okay, you have to keep on moving on. You take the hits, you stand back up, you keep walking. Okay. Um. So what are these videos? Well, these videos are basically my attempt to, flag down the Pega community and say, hey, I might have questions. Please help me out. Um, which I mean, I do. I've had questions in the past. Now I've come across particular subject and material from Pega Academy that I was like, wait, this is wrong. You guys need to fix it. And they've responded in kind and addressed certain things. So, matter of fact, just got an email just a little bit ago. So we'll go over that in a little bit later. But um, there's other questions where it's like, I can't necessarily ask Pega Academy. I can't really put a suggestion down for it because it's, my understanding, and my understanding isn't connecting very well on it, where it might be connecting perfectly fine for someone else. Um, and that might happen. Okay. There might be a subject that, you know, you might find very easy to have it click for you, and there's other subjects that you might struggle with. Okay, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, that's how the world is. That's how your brain works. Okay. For someone to be able to, instantly know every single last little subject and detail and all that kind of jazz, that's amazing. I really wish I had that ability. Um, but, for example, back in high school, took geometry class. I struggled at the very beginning. I didn't really grasp geometry at the very beginning of that class. Now, the second half I had really no problem with. I kind of connected with it fairly easily, but I actually had to get a tutor at the very beginning because, my brother wasn't really explaining it very well for me to really understand, and um, uh, that was, um, my dad was kind of struggling at that time before he passed away, and that happened right on um, in that semester, so of high school. So that was the second half of the class was, um, well, it is what it is. Um, but um, I say that I didn't really have too much problem with it, but yeah, we move on. But I had a tutor, and he explained it well enough to me. Um, or I should say, Chris explained it well enough to me. If Chris ever sees this video, then, you know, then I gotta thank him for that. my thanks are always with him, okay, for helping me out with that, um, helping me learn what I was, where my disconnect was concerning geometry, okay, and that's perfectly fine, okay, you know, as as someone watching this video right now, if you're struggling with that, it's okay to reach out to someone and ask them, hey, I don't really understand this part of whatever. Ask for help. Ask for someone to explain it to you. Okay. Go to someone else to explain it to you if they're not really explaining it very well. Okay. It's okay to ask for that. Okay. Don't be afraid to ask for help when it comes to something that you don't understand. Okay. Um, sometimes all it takes is a different way of explaining the material for you to understand a little bit better. Okay. So don't be afraid of that. Okay. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. If you're not really understanding, a particular material. Okay. If a teacher's not really explaining it, go to another teacher that might be like in that same department, you know, in that same field. Okay. Like if you have like multiple math teachers or something like that, then, at your location, then ask that other math teacher. Or, or go online and ask, there's other people to ask. So, in this wide world of, information out there, don't be afraid to. Okay. That's what basically these videos are all about. Me kind of, you know, hopefully hoping that, the Pega community will, find these and help me answer the questions that I have. Okay. If you have questions, feel free to ask them right now in my chat while I'm streaming, live right now, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know, um, you can ask the questions right now, especially when it comes to Pega, or leave a comment. Okay, either one works. So don't be afraid to. Okay, but know that I'm not an authorized training partner, and this is not meant for an instructor-led training. Okay, I'm not an expert in Pega. I'm learning it as I go as well. Um, so you know, these two here should be experts in Pega and should be able to explain everything and teach you in a way that doesn't make you feel inferior, okay? Or says anything along the lines of um, your code is trash and walks away, okay? Those are the worst teachers, okay? They are not teachers. They will push you down, okay? Don't let them, okay? Um, so that goes out to the one TA that said that my code was trash and said nothing more. Don't be like that, okay? If you're ever a teacher, don't come at a person like that, okay? Show them why. If you think it's trash, fine. You can think like that, but teach them how not to code that way, okay? So, um, yeah, we move on to the dashboard. I've completed the business architect mission. Okay, if you're here for the business architect, it's all done. All the videos are in my playlist, all the topics, all the modules, all the challenges, they're all done. Okay, so if you're looking for a business architect, then know that it's all been done before. Okay, um, so I would go back over those videos if you need to and ask questions if you need to. Okay. These last two modules, though, they cover the Pega Express delivery. Okay, Pega Express delivery has 12% of the certification covering this particular topic. these two modules, I feel, do not cover that topic very well. So I would recommend that you go over this mission Pega Express delivery to make sure that you are very comfortable with Pega Express. So bear that in mind. But we're continuing on with our system architect. We got our 26 modules, 23 challenges. Well, actually less because I've already gone through a couple modules and challenges already, so those are done. So we're going to be moving on to the creating and managing teams of users. Okay, so we got teams of users. It says 10 minutes, which probably is going to be longer. And then, of course, we got the module quiz after that. So I'm going to try to do both within this hour, and we'll move on from there. All right. So, what are teams of users? Resource sharing across the organization. So, obviously, if you're in a really large organization with multiple different departments, then, sometimes you might have an application, you know, inside the company itself that everybody uses in some fashion or another. Customer service takes down a customer complaint that might go to the devs to fix the application, or um, the customer might purchase something which goes to the financial department or something along those lines. Whatever, you know. Um, so, you know, organization might have something that needs to handle multiple different departments all at the same time. Like sales goes to financial, or customer service might go to you know, the software dev department. Um, who's to say, right? So let's move on. Operators are associated with business units in the organization. To manage the needs of a cross-functional organization, you need to create work groups with team members across the entire organization, regardless of the business unit with which the operator is associated. Okay. Operators in Dev Studio are also called users and people in App Studio. Why they have different key terms there, I don't really know. Okay, it makes no sense to me. Why even bother having key terms, applying for different people in different studios? It makes no sense to me. Just stick with one term and keep with it. Okay, you don't have to, this whole operators are also called users and people. Well, then why not just call them users? It fits the same, you know, you know, people fit in users. It's the same definition, for the most part. You know, Operators are can also be considered users as well. So I don't know. It makes no sense to me. In the center of the following image, slide the vertical line to see users in App Studio from different business units in the same work group. Now, bear in mind, this is supposed to be like all about, we've already covered the App Studio, because App Studio is mainly used for, the business architects, right? So, um, you know, we're kind of more on the Dev Studio portion of the system architect, um, portion of this particular mission, right? So why are they using, you know, terms from App Studio as they mentioned here? You know, use operators. If you're saying operators, use operators. Oh, well, that's a slight nitpick. Um, Slide the vertical line to see users from different business units in the same work group. Okay, so um, Sharon from marketing unit is in the website work group. So um, whereas Charlie from finance unit is in the website work group. Which, okay. I'm not quite sure exactly why both would be in the website work group. But maybe they need to, you know, change some numbers for their finance or something like that on the website. So they gave them a little bit more, or maybe they gave them a little bit of permissions to do that. Same with the marketing. Maybe they needed to put in another advertisement or a different advertisement or something like that, or change up some kind of marketing strategy, change up the look and feel of the website or something like that. I mean, that's still possible. So, I mean, um, but at the same time, I would imagine that they would, they would have another work group specifically for finance and specifically for marketing. You know, so they might be in multiple work groups. So a work group identifies a cross-functional team that contains manager and a work queue. Operators associated with a work group can share work among operators in different business units. Each work group contains one work queue. To increase productivity and facilitate the distribution of a workload in your application development process, create a team. For more information on creating teams, see creating a team. Um, okay, so basically there's a team within your to handle distribution of workload, you know, you know, increase in productivity and facilitate the distribution workload in your team. Work group is cross-functional team, so multiple people from other teams being added into like one to handle one particular project in some fashion or another. Which, I mean, sure, um, you're not going to be able to build a website, just with the software devs themselves. You still might need artists, photographers, marketing, finance, whatever, whatever you need to handle, modifying that web page. That's perfectly reasonable. Um, but relationship between work group and work queue. A work queue's shared work basket of work items that operators or assigned to a work queue can access. A work queue is similar to a work list. Again, it's the same kind of, different word for the same kind of process. It's like, why? But we'll move on. However, a work list contains only the work assigned to a specific operator. A work queue is a work group in a work group contains shared work for all operators associated with that work group. So, let me, if you're not really understanding, let me break it down a little bit more. So a work list goes to you yourself. Okay, you will have a work list. So, like, if you are, um, let me try to explain it. Say you are like a chef. Okay, your job is to make one particular plate every single time that plate gets ordered, right? for some odd reason. Okay, you can only handle this one particular food, and that's it, right? So an order comes up, they say they want this plate, you work on said item, and you send it right back out again, right? So that's on your work list. You know, every single time that plate gets ordered, that gets put on your work list. You work on said plate, and you send it right back out again, right? That's kind of what a work list would is kind of like, you know. Now a work queue is, you know, like getting those orders from, you know, the waiters. You know, they basically, you know, take all the order, right? And they put it for the chefs to make then, you know, all of the plates. Okay. So that work item, okay, that might have that one plate for that one chef. So that one chef might look at that work queue and say, oh, hey, I need to add this to my work list. So, you know, I can get that one plate done and put it into, you know, say that it's complete. But it might not be, you know, completely finished. Okay. So other people, other chefs might need to look at that particular order and, you know, handle anything else on it. You know, like if you're, let's say you work at McDonald's, right? You have the cooks in the back handling like the burgers. You have someone cooking up the fries. You have someone working on the drinks, right? So, you know, the person working on the drinks might have a list of people ordering just drinks. Okay, like, hey, I need a Coke. I need a Diet Coke. I need a, you know, Dr. Pepper. I need a Sprite, whatever. Okay. So they'll fill out those drink orders and put it, you know, for the main order, right? Their work list is the drinks. Okay. Um, the cashier takes the order, says, hey, I need, you know, 2 cheeseburgers, some fries, and a Coke, a large Coke. Okay. So, you know, the person handling the drinks will get that work, see it, and, you know, fill out that large Coke, put it on the order, and they're on to the next portion. The cooks in the back see the 2 cheeseburgers, you know, cook it up, put it on the plate, and that's ready. Puts on the fries, their work list, gets another fry, puts on the order, and that item on the work queue is done. You get what I'm saying? You know, hopefully I explain it well enough for you to kind of get it. So, you know, the work queue is more for like everybody in the team. Okay. Now it might just be like, hey, that work queue is, um, you know, the only thing wrong with it is, or the only thing that is needed is like a drink order or something like that. Someone ordered a drink, that person, you know, gets that item in their work list, fills out that drink order, puts it, you know, and says, hey, this is complete, all done, you know, and that work item is done. That, you know, so don't have to worry about it anymore. But it might be a little bit more advanced than that too. Okay, so there might be other operators that are handling the that particular problem. So in Pega platform, a work queue requires a work group, and a work group requires a work queue. When setting up your first work group, you can use the default Pega work queue. For more information on adding work queues, see adding work queues to a team. So once again, they're using links to other topics that they're not really adding more information on. So I would recommend to kind of take a look at these articles just in case, um, if you want more further information. But let's move on. An operator must be associated with at least one work group and can belong to more than one work group. Okay, associating operators to work groups allows businesses to manage how individuals share work without affecting the organizational hierarchy. For example, a finance analyst, marketing manager, and staff writer all work to maintain the company website. They are members of the website workgroup, which gives each member of the workgroup the ability to access work from a shared work queue. As a best practice, configure people and users in App Studio to ensure that the behind-the-scenes rules are set for you. Dev Studio provides advanced operator and workgroup configuration options such as permissions. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about shared resources in workgroups. Okay, so notice how you have an accounting unit, an HR unit, and a training unit. So, um, just to kind of show each, although shouldn't these actually be called teams? An accounting team, an HR team, and a training team? I thought that's what their definition up here is all about. Um, again, they're not being consistent with their keywords. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and add that into for as a suggestion for this particular topic, because they're not being consistent with their keywords, and it's leading up to confusion on this. Did they mean maybe unit is something from Pega 7 and they haven't changed out of it yet. They're reusing the graphic for Pega 7, talking about units, when in fact they changed it to teams in Pega 8. That could be the case. I don't know. I'm not sure. So, um, but they need to be more consistent along those lines. So, the operators not shown in the image below belong to other work groups, such as HR, and are not displayed in the onboarding work group. Well, I mean, yeah, the onboarding work group won't contain everybody from this, from, from an entire unit. That wouldn't really make any sense whatsoever. Um, you know, um, especially if it's a extremely large organization, then you may need multiple onboarding work groups. Okay, you may be trying, tackling like multiple hiring sessions or something along those lines. So your training unit might be, you know, each person in the training unit might have their own onboarding work group. Okay. The fact that they're showing all three of these people in the onboarding work group is like, well, okay. But same with the accounting. Although, well, okay. These are the work groups. Okay. Um, so they have a accounting personnel that is also, with the onboarding work group as well. So, work queues. The accounting work group and the onboarding work group each have their own work queue. Only operators in the work group can complete work from the respective work queue. Okay, yep, that checks out. Sharing resources. One operator in the accounting work group, okay, is also associated with the onboarding work group. This allows the operator to share work with the other operators in the onboarding work group. And vice versa as well. Um, hmm. mean, it's not wrong, but this allows the operators to share work with other operators in the accounting work group as well. Not just the onboarding work group, but um, collaboration across teams. Some operators in the HR unit and training unit are associated with the onboarding work group and share work from the same work queue with other operators in the work group. Now, what they are not showing here is the fact that the HR unit and the training unit might have their own individual work groups themselves. Much like the accounting work group here, they might have their own individual work groups, but they're not showing that, which is okay because they wanted to kind of show um, the fact that you have a work group that might include different teams or units or whatever they're trying to go for here. But just bear that in mind, okay? That the you know um, the work groups will have their own work queues. Why? Okay, here's. So here's the thing that's bugging me about this, right? So a work queue is a shared work group work basket of work items that operators who are assigned to a work queue can access, right? Um, However, a work group identifies a cross-functional team. Cross-functional. Um, so, work group can share work among operators in different business units. Again, this should probably be more teams than business units, but again, they're not being very consistent with this. So, shouldn't the accounting work group have people from, say, like the HR in it? If it's supposed to be cross-functional, then should you not have someone, say, from the HR within the accounting work group as well? You're not showing it. So so I'm gonna make a I'm gonna kind of discuss things about this because this is they're making I feel like they're making some mistakes on this one right at this moment in time. So workgroup managers. A workgroup identifies one operator who is the workgroup manager. The system can use manager information in the workgroup for the notification tasks and writing tasks. Workgroups give managers the flexibility to assign, monitor, and report on work performed in each workgroup. Managers use the user portal to access the work performed in workgroups. Um, my my past job didn't really do that very well, or at least it didn't really use the in-house or the Pega system itself to kind of work on that. Unfortunately, they were still using a lot of Jira, so it wasn't um, it didn't feel like it was as streamlined as it could be. So Work groups can contain authorized managers to help transfer assignments. For example, if the primary team manager is unavailable, an authorized operator can perform some of the manager responsibilities. Authorized managers are not required to be part of the work group and cannot perform approvals or complete assignments. So, so you might have a, work group manager that handles everything, but you might also have authorized managers. Say like, for example, your accounting unit, right? You might have the accounting unit's manager, overall manager, in charge of the work group, handing out tasks within the accounting work group. But there might also be like an employee from the HR unit in there that might also be, um, like maybe, the manager for the HR unit is in the accounting work group for some reason, right? So they might also be one that, handles, you know, adding in additional work. Or maybe there's um, an associate manager within the accounting unit, within the accounting team to handle um, handing out work, that kind of thing. So, okay, so choose the correct statement. A user has access to a work queue for their work group, right? A user has one work queue based on the work queue that is assigned by their manager. That's not exactly correct. A user selects a work queue from those that are available in the business unit. That's not also not necessarily correct. So, um, when assigned to multiple work groups, a user can access only one work queue. That's incorrect. When assigned to multiple work groups, a user can access only one work queue in their work groups and one work queue in their business unit. That's also incorrect. When assigned to multiple work groups, a user can access the work queue for each of those in their work groups. Yes, that's correct. A work group allows users to collaborate with multiple authorized managers. Um, I mean, sure, might not necessarily mean that there's multiple um, authorized managers, but I mean, it's not like you can't have multiple authorized managers in a work group, so sure. Work group gives users access to a work queue shared among users from different business units. Yes, um, that's true. A work group gives managers the ability to assign work to any users in the organization. No, incorrect. Um, I mean, this um, this could still be technically true. There might be multiple authorized managers in your work group. So so I don't know why, you know, I'm assuming that this is the wrong answer because this one right here, um, that one is probably the best answer. Yep. Um, but why it's wrong, you know, I'm not 100% sure. Let me restart that and um, see if they have any explanation for why. Um, uh, uh, okay. Let me click on this one and see if they have something to say about it. They don't have anything to say about it. Okay. I'm not sure about their reasoning behind that, but I feel like that's um, I don't get why this is a wrong answer. Um, because I mean, if work groups can only have one authorized manager, then it wouldn't necessarily be plural. So that's why I'm like, well, I mean, a work group could allow users to collaborate with multiple authorized managers. I mean, why not? You know, if you're giving if you have multiple authorized managers, then why? What's the problem? You know, what's the reasoning behind this? So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take a screenshot of that as well. Um, so I'm gonna make two suggestions here. Um, okay, let's see. This one was a module suggestion, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, okay. Um, Here, let me make sure that I'm. Let me look at the image just in case, you know, so I can, you know, address it properly in the suggestion here. Um, so I'm already quite aware about the second option, the one that I highlighted in yellow. Um, was the correct answer. Um, but I'm wondering what is wrong with the third answer. Um, you, uh, according to the topic, you could have multiple um, authorized managers. So, what is wrong with the statement that makes it false? You could collaborate with multiple authorized managers So what's a false statement within what's the false portion of that statement? Again, don't get me wrong, I know the second statement is what you were wanting, but the third is just as true. Maybe a rewrite is in order. Okay, now let me get into the real meat and potatoes of suggestions because um, uh, no attached image for this suggestion because it is for the entire topic. Um, uh, from what I can see throughout the entire topic is terms that aren't consistent. You mention that um, departments are placed in teams. Let me capitalize that. However, you don't use teams anywhere after that note. Um, I see more units than teams, which is the preferred term. If you use both, then you can potentially cause confusion when the learner takes the certification. Um, um, Also, in the graphic, you show that the counting has a work group. However, you previously stated that a work group has members from multiple different departments. Why are you not showing that a member, say from the HR team, is within that work group? Um, the graphic itself is also using unit over team. I would suggest you go over this entire topic and be a little more consistent with your terms, such as using user when aren't we supposed to use operator for Dev Studio? Um, um, all right. Um, Also, if you are using an old term from previous Pega versions, such as Pega 7, please state that key term as a Pega 7 key term as well, because I've taken a 8.6 certification and got hit with Pega 7 key terms in the certification exam. Wasn't sure what the question was asking. because I had seen the term before. Okay. That was a long suggestion, but I mean it kind of needed to be said. They're really not being very consistent with their terms here. So this is dangerous, you know, especially if some of these keywords might be from like Pega 7 or something like that, and you don't really know, you know, like they might be saying that unit is a Pega 7 key term when in fact it's it from this note here, from this tip here, you know, it's supposed to be team. So that's all. Um, okay. Well, that's going to be it for this particular topic. Let's go on to the module quiz. Let's finish off that, and then we'll move on to um, um, uploading videos and call it a day at that. Oh, well, you only got 2 questions on this one. Okay. Not a lot, but sure. Which requirement do you satisfy by creating a work group? Case reviews that are not completed within 24 hours are escalated to the manager of the assigned worker. I mean, that's not really necessary for it, but sure. I mean, that's not necessarily um, the main focus of that last topic, so that's not something that you really need to worry about. Approvals are directed to the appropriate regional vice president. Again, not something that was really covered from the topic, so that shouldn't really be something really to worry about. Transaction disputes are directed to a different queue for customer service representatives than address changes. I mean, sure, might that that might be probably like one of the best answers out of this. Insurance claims are processed by a cross-functional team of appraisers, adjusters, and service representatives. That's probably the best one out of the bunch. So, yeah. Not to say that this one isn't necessarily wrong, you know, because um, um, your work group might be kind of in charge of seeing like maybe like different work queues, and hence having different people handling different parts of it. So I don't see that as a problem. Um, but yeah, the fourth one is the better answer out of that. Which requirement can you satisfy by creating a new work queue? Inquiries from customers with a higher status tier are triaged before inquiries from customers in a low status tier. Okay. I don't think that's really necessary. Requests for information from prospective customers are directed to sales representatives assigned to the appropriate territory. Probably. This might work a little bit. Auditors can access the secondary view with additional information, but other users cannot access the secondary view. Mm, I don't think you really need that. Um, and that's, a view is different than a work queue, so you shouldn't necessarily need to worry too much about that. That's more of a permissions than anything else. Um, and maybe even like a different work group altogether. So probably not the third. Policy renewals can be processed by any customer service representative, while coverage changes are assigned to members of a specialized team of underwriters and CSRs. Hmm. Um, this one seems like the best one out of the bunch. Yeah. So write-on assignments to any member of a specific cross-functional team can be configured by creating a queue for the team. So um, the idea here is the fact that you have two different style of teams kind of thing. So you're creating a new work queue to handle you know different you know coverage changes kind of thing. Whereas this one is just kind of like you're putting it into a work queue. You don't necessarily need like a new one for that. So, you're just kind of putting it in the sales representative queue and that's it. So, okay. Well, that's it for this particular topic. So we're going to move on to the next portion, which I believe is a challenge. Let me confirm that here real quick. Yeah, creating and managing teams of users. There's 5 tasks on this, so that's quite a bit to kind of work out, but they say that it'll take 15 minutes. It won't. It'll probably cost us more than that, but um, so that's it for today's Pega stream, Pega video. So continue working towards that goal there, everybody. Don't give up. We'll get to the end of our system architect journey, and then we will be covering a lot of um, we'll be going through like the mission test a little bit more thoroughly. We'll try going through the um, um, we'll go through some mock exams and so on and so forth. So, but I mean, I got a ways to get there. There's still a lot for me to kind of cover. If each one of these is, potentially like 1 hour long, then, we we got, I got my work cut out for me. And, some of these are like multiple topics for a lot of information contained with them. So some of these are probably going to be taking even more than an hour. So be prepared for that. Um, but yep, that's it for today's portion of the System Architect Pega video. I want to thank all of you for joining me on this particular journey on studying Pega. Hopefully you are enjoying this journey. Hopefully it's helping you out. Feel free to leave, any kind of comment on the videos themselves, or chat with me in the chat if you want. I don't mind. Would love the company. Um, but that's going to be it. So hopefully you can help me out with, the YouTube algorithm with the whole, liking and subscribing and all that would be fantastic. Um, Feel free to check out the description. I have multiple links down there, such as social media. Um, yeah, well, that old Twitch link, which I probably should kind of get rid of now that I think about it. I don't stream there anymore. So, um, I have links to, like I said, Discord. I have links to, websites that help me out directly, such as Patreon and Throne. And I also have a link to my stream team that I made, Team Robot. That's for anybody, whether you're a streamer or not, you're welcome on the team. There's a cool document that explains the vision that I have for it. Still looking for more members um, to make it grow and be basically a team of you know like-minded helpful individuals. So hopefully you share that kind of mindset. So look forward to your application on that. Um, it's not that big of a deal right at this moment in time, but um, we're looking for people that are wanting to help everybody out. So hopefully that's something that you might be interested in. But that's it. That's where we're gonna go and end it. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I catch you next time. But until then, take care. Have a good night. Stay healthy. Stay safe. And I'll catch you strangers next time.